All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Randy Smith here with Keller Williams Smoky Mountains, your VA friendly agent. And I am back with Dawn Warren from Southwest Lending, who is continuing down our series of discussions about all things VA loans. We have talked about whether or not National Guard reservist would qualify for that benefit. We have talked about accessory dwelling units. We've talked about a lot already, Don.
Yes, we have, but you know what? We've not even scratched the surface.
No, I think you're right about that. Well, I'm excited to dig into today's topic regarding VA renovation loans. This was definitely a new one to me when I had the pleasure of taking your military relocation professional class last fall, and I think this is going to be something that a lot of folks need to hear about, especially sellers who maybe aren't veterans or have not served in in the military and don't realize that a VA buyer can maybe now have the option of purchasing a home that's not quite up to the standard that they think it has to be. Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. There's a couple things with this. One one of the big myths is that the VA minimum property requirements are tougher than other loans. Really, they're
Right.
not. There's actually a lot of similarity on those. But what it gets down to is on the homes, there might need to be some work done. It doesn't have to, basically it just has to be habitable on there. So
Okay.
living, but it needs, hey, there can be just some work that needs to be done, maybe even some updates on there that a buyer wants to take advantage of on there. But the renovation loan might be a great option to cover this. One thing that frustrates me is I will see listings that say cash or conventional only or investor special
Mm-hmm.
on there. Well, you take a look at this, it's like, okay, well, everything's good, and it doesn't need to be a flip house that an investor might do, but it
Right.
might be something that's habitable, that a veteran that is willing to and understands what the renovation loan involves on there is willing to purchase with that loan product, and the seller and the listing agent have an understanding of, hey, this opens up our market to be able to do that, to offer this to veterans. Hey, the other loans have some type of renovation or type loan, like the FHA has a 203K. So this can open up that possibility, but just relating to veterans and the VA renovation loan, it could be some things as simple as to get the minimum property requirements that an appraiser will definitely notate, get that
Mm-hmm.
up to standard. But then again, it may be to update that 70s kitchen and
Right.
get some more energy efficient items in there. Update the bathroom to just for what is today's standard, or to make things more handicap accessible. There's a lot of things that you can do with the renovation loan on there. Then one of the main things is it just needs to be habitable from the get-go on there, and that really covers a lot of things on there.
Sure.
Uh, there's a wide range on that, but basically, if work needs to be done, then there might be short periods of time where it's best to move out of the house while the work is being done.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it needs to be livable on there. But this is a way to go ahead and purchase a home, get the work done, and you also have that equity built up
Yes. Right.
most often on there, because uh, getting updates done or getting certain things done provides you more value than what the actual work to be done cost.
Very good. So I know three of the terms that I was taught when I first came into real estate regarding VA loans, FHA, and things to look for when I was working with buyers, for instance. And those were safe, sound, and sanitary. So that's kind of what you're referring to when you're saying that the place needs to be habitable, correct?
Minimum property requirements, yes, safe, and I like to use the word structurally sound, because that's what
Mm-hmm.
that better defines sound on there, and sanitary. Sanitary might be, something like mold or some other things. There's a wide variation on all three of
Okay,
those.
very good. And so in this particular instance, it sounds as if, sellers who maybe are selling a property, they're selling their home, maybe they've lived in it since their childhood and it was originally purchased in the 50s and maybe it has original windows, or I'm trying to think of some things that maybe we've kind of shied away from in the past, and maybe the windows don't open correctly, or, you know, possibly this VA renovation loan might be a good solution.
Absolutely, there is a wide variety of things that can be done with this. Uh, and really, it can change depending on the lender and what risk that they're willing to take on with it. They can actually change things, but the VA allows for a lot of things to be done with the renovation loan.
Okay.
And it could be, as we mentioned, simple things. It could be it could be updating those 1950s windows on there. And windows can be expensive
Right.
to do it. And there's some great energy efficient windows now on there. It can be going ahead and getting a new flooring uh, on,
Okay.
on there. It could be it could be a wide variety of things, and
I love it.
generally at any given moment when somebody's wanting to have something done, sometimes I know automatically yes, but then might be some things that might be changing the structure of the home,
Mm-hmm.
removing a load bearing wall or certain things like that. We might have to check and verify that that is still covered and that can be done on there. So just as long as the work that's to be done falls within all of that, we're good to go.
And so you mentioned the FHA sort of equivalent, and I forget the numbers now. I'm sorry.
Two,
FHA
203K, yeah.
203K. All right. So I know with that one, it's very tightly monitored, if you will, in terms of watching who's doing the work, their licensing, insurance, that sort of thing. So with the VA renovation loan, if the buyer is handy or even has a background in, say, replacing those floors, is that work that they can do themselves, or does that have to then be kind of farmed out, if you will?
There has to be it has to be arm's length on them. It can't be them. It can't be their buddy
Okay.
on there. But the contractor that's going to do the work, and whether it's going to be one contractor or it's going to be several contractors. If it's going to be more than one person, then one person needs to be the general contractor on that. And we would need to make sure that whoever's going to be responsible for that, whether it's the individual contractor
Mm-hmm.
or their that they're licensed, that they're insured, that they have a VA ID number on there, which is
Okay.
easy to get. Normally just takes a few days. It's signing 3 or 4 basic forms that are standard, and it's providing license information, it's providing the insurance information to the VA. The VA issues that, but that sets them up to do to do the work for any veteran related loans where there'll be a
Okay.
loan is involved.
All right. And that certainly makes sense. Okay, very good. So anything else that we should know about this? I feel like maybe you mentioned in our MRP class that the work was done after closing, but the funds were sort of held in escrow. Am I remembering?
Let's just kind of go through the process here on this.
Perfect.
One is we have to get the veteran pre-approved. That's the main thing right there.
Yes.
So whatever amount we pre-approved them for, let's use $500,000 on there. So the home that they're looking at, plus the work to be done, needs to be $500,000 or less
Okay.
on there, and we'll just structure the loan however. It could be a $300,000 home, but they want to put $150,000 worth of work into it. Fine, that all fits into that with having that information. Minimum credit score currently is 580, so it's very doable on this. For it opens this up for a lot of people. Whereas a purchase loan, okay, we can go with whatever the score is and everything else is fine. But with the renovation loan, you're talking about added level of commitment and risk on that. So 580 is very reasonable on there. There's lenders who won't even do a purchase loan for less than 640.
No, you're right.
So that is very doable. Just as long as we get them pre-approved. What the process is on this is they find a home that hey, they liked it, needs to have some work. They're going to put the purchase price is going to be 300. Fine, they're going to put they're estimating maybe 150,000. Okay, well, how's that estimation be done? Well, contractors coming in and doing the bid.
Okay.
Only one bid is actually needed. I mean, it's called bid, but it's a worksheet of this is a quote, this is what needs to be done, and finding someone reputable, making sure that if they don't already have a VA builder number, that they get that. Again, a very easy process, but you always want to make sure that they are responsive to you, because when we get that, as lenders, when we get that bid sheet in, we may have to work back and forth with that contractor 2 or 3 times to get it in the right format.
Oh, I see.
For underwriting, because basically, if there's work to be done in the kitchen on there, it has that work, what the material cost is and what the labor is. If it's if there's going to be electrical on there, what the electrical work is, the cost of materials and the labor. So it has to just kind of be broken down for each different component on there, and it's easy enough to do. But a lot of contractors they stay busy on there, so they're working on these things in their off hours, at dark 30 or very early in the morning on that. So just as long as we get that, because that's going to be the main holdup on getting closed on time, because closing can take, we say 45 to 60 days because of the time that it takes for most contractors to respond back and for us to get that in order. Hey, if they're extremely responsive, we can get it closed in 30 days.
Okay, perfect.
So basically, we've got the pre-approval, found the home, getting the get the bid sheet done on there, and what we do at that point is we get the appraisal ordered. The appraisal will be ordered. What we send to the appraiser is we send the purchase contract, we send the bid sheet on there. The appraiser will come out, they'll take a look over everything, and they will note on the appraisal report of the everything but the items that it's going to be worked on. They will note that as a subject to there. And just as long as the two match up of that there's not anything additional that they note as a subject to that wasn't included on the bid sheet, it's fine. Otherwise, if there's something outside of that, it either needs to be included on an updated bid sheet, or that work has to be done prior to closing.
Okay.
But we're going to assume everything matches up on there. The subject twos are just the stuff that's on the bid sheet. We're good, and we can actually go ahead and, as it works through the underwriting process, as we make sure we have all the documents, it can be closed. And then after closing, then the work begins from that. So, for the client, for the seller, they've sold their home. For the veteran, they've gotten the home now. They can move in, but the work,
Right.
the work begins on there, and the home is theirs now. Basically the main requirement on that, as far as the work to be done, it has to be completed within 9 months.
Okay. Got it.
Generally, that's not a problem at all on
Yeah.
there, for most, just as long as that work needs to be, done in 9 months. Once the work is completed, the appraiser will come out there and verify that the work has been completed on there, and then that closes out, out the file for there. And the veteran has a home, generally that's worth more than that 300 plus 150.
Right.
Generally, it's going to be, the value of the home at that point will probably be more than what they put into it.
I love it.
On there. So there's a lot that can be done with that. It's a great option.
Yeah.
There are certain things. Let's see here. And this can be done on a purchase, or it can also be done as a cash out refinance.
Oh,
If they're already living in the home
right.
and want work to be done on there, they can change this into a VA renovation loan with that to be done.
Very
So
nice.
it's a great tool. Now, what properties are eligible to do this? You got your 1-unit property, you got your 2-unit property,
Perfect.
manufactured homes can also benefit from this.
That's fantastic. That's great.
So how is there an amount that it's capped by? Yeah, that, whether you can get a certain amount of funds
Mhm.
for renovation work. No, there's not. It might be, everything total might be subjected to the county, the county conforming loan limit.
Oh, okay, right.
So that might come into play, but there's no, other than that, there's no cap on the amount of funds that can be used for the renovation part of the loan. And so you got 200,000, but generally anything, it can also be over 200,000, but
Right.
it's subject to a higher level review. And then, above 50,000, that's when a HUD inspector is generally brought in on this. But here's some examples of some structural alterations that can be done. I was talking to you about the load bearing wall. Well, now they've got mentioned, says they can remove an interior load bearing wall. Repairing some structural components of the roof. But adding a second story or changing the elevation is not permitted. Attached additions expanding the footprint of the home require a second level project review prior to approval. So it can be done. Repair and installation of private water systems like wells. So there are certainly some great things that can be done with this.
Yes. That's great. I mean, I just think this opens up so many possibilities where we felt like doors were closed previously. Whether they really truly were or not, the fear and the myth, some of the myths rather, behind VA loans and how they work, kind of shut a lot of our folks out. But now we really have some great options.
It's getting the word out there on that, and
Yes.
this really does open up a lot of possibilities. Also, like I mentioned, they can do that on a cash out refinance where they can change that over to a renovation loan and have the work done on there from that.
I got to tell you, I just love this. And I think that you are 100% right in regards to, just getting the word out there. And, I've heard you say it, I've said it, I've heard other lenders say it, the myths behind VA loans and kind of busting those myths and determining what is what is factual and what isn't. And I shared with you just before we started, my own father, who retired from the Navy, called and challenged me about a week and a half ago after one of the posts that I made. And I was like, no, 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 this is what we've got. So I think we need to go on the road, Don, and take this to all of our military personnel and those that have so wonderfully earned this benefit.
Absolutely. Yeah, we just gotta there's a great opportunity out there because there's some people wanting to sell their home or need to get out from underneath it, but
Yeah,
they're not willing to put the work in or don't have the money to put the work
that's
in.
it.
But there's a lot of people, and veterans that's willing to move into a home and have the work done. It may be a combination where at the very least move into the home and get it up to the minimum property requirement standards, and then they can do the other work themselves if they want to. But there's a great opportunity uh, for this. I know.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm an old man now. It's like I want everything to be ready. I don't want to have to do any work. I don't have time for that anymore. I
I
want to
don't
be
have
like
the patience.
I want to be like your dad and just be a grumpy old man and be
Yes.
argue with people on there. I may be right, I may not be right, but that's all right.
But that's take it or leave it.
Exactly, exactly. I've earned that. I've earned that.
That's right. That's right. Well, that is fantastic. I think you've cleared up a lot of questions for us, and as you said, just getting the information out there, will definitely be key. Well, Dawn, as always, man, I can't thank you enough for partnering up with me and continuing to put this series and these videos together. I'm having a blast.
Oh, I am too. And by the way, I love your overalls today. I know that you were prepared for some and I know you're there. You're getting a little bit higher elevation and
That's
stuff.
right. That's
So you
right.
might have a little bit more in the way of snow. So
Oh gosh. Yeah, you never quite know what you're going to get into when it comes to the potential of showing property and where you're walking. And yeah, you always have to be prepared.
exactly. But again, I love doing these. Any way that we can get the word out is wonderful. I love what you're doing as a veteran-friendly agent
Thank
on
you.
there, and that you are working hard and to make sure our veterans get the right information. And I
Thank
so
you.
appreciate that.
They deserve it. They deserve the best. Absolutely. All right. Well, very good. So as always, folks, like, follow, subscribe, comment, reach out. You're always welcome to message me, call or email. Don will have his contact information as well. I know he very much feels the same. Even if it's just a question, there's never an obligation to commit to anything else other than asking us the question and allowing us to answer it for you.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, take care and we'll see everybody again soon. Bye.